We now turn to the second phrase in our definition of collaborative school leadership, that collaborative school leadership works for inclusive participation and holistic learning. In the first presentation, we talked about what leadership is and the implications this has for understanding who actually contributes to leadership. But what particular type of leadership do we think they should be doing? The phrase "for inclusive participation and holistic learning" is an answer to this question. The commitment to inclusive participation and holistic learning expresses the value base which is the root of collaborative school leadership. In this slide, we consider two contrasting ideas about people. One puts an emphasis on people's dependence, and the other on their capacity for active co-development. Collaborative school leadership, as we envisage it, moves beyond what we call a philosophy of dependence, which underpins many of the everyday assumptions influencing educational leadership. The philosophy of dependence is the view that people are fundamentally dependent on being directed, being regulated, being told what to do, that they need to be provided with instructions in order to know what is right and how to act. This assumes that living in the right way means always following those ideas that are authorised as correct by others. In this way of thinking, professional educators, students and others are principally conceived as agents who serve the values, aims and priorities determined by those holding formal authority. Teachers are construed as uncreative technicians who deliver a curriculum designed at a higher level in the policy hierarchy. In contrast, our view of collaborative school leadership is underpinned by the idea of co-development. Thus, this idea sees people as having a fundamental, innate capability to actively expand their knowledge and their understanding, both individually and collaboratively. It is rooted in values of social justice and democracy, giving everyone the chance to thrive. Flourishing as human beings means nurturing our own and others' freedom, our shared relational freedom, and to grow collaboratively. We learn best by bringing together the diverse experiences, expertise and ideas of different people. Collaborative school leadership, then, is about moving beyond dependence towards co-development. We suggest that co-development in a school context has four dimensions, derived from our conception of holistic democracy. Firstly, there is power sharing. This is about inclusive participation in shaping the environment of the school, having a say in what happens, and having autonomy to initiate change and innovation, and to work with others to bring about change. There is transforming dialogue. In a school which features collaborative leadership, people feel confident to share and explore views and to debate issues within a context of mutual respect. In such a school, the prime purpose of dialogue is to enhance mutual understanding and reach beyond one's own narrow perspective and interests to seek out the greater good of the school and its community. There is holistic learning. Instead of a narrow conception, holistic learning offers a broader perspective. It's about growing in breadth of understanding and social awareness, exploring values, developing a feeling for ethical issues and examining questions of meaning and purpose, as well as expanding technical, scientific and cognitive knowledge. Holistic learning includes the development of critical thinking. Finally, relational well-being refers to feeling empowered and to developing high self-esteem as a member of the school community. There is a sense of belonging and a deep sense of connectedness to other people, to the natural world, and to those things that uplift the spirit. In the school community, the capacity to think for oneself is also valued. Let's consider an example of what this can mean in practice. In some schools, teachers are participants in professional development groups, which offer opportunities for co-leadership and learning by teachers. A commitment to co-development using these 4 dimensions as a framework for reflection suggests critical questions concerning how teacher participation in such groups can be made as meaningful as possible for everyone. Going through each in turn, power sharing, we might ask, what steps might be needed to make sure that membership is inclusive in practice and that some do not feel excluded? Transforming dialogue, is the group run so that all are heard and participate in discussions with equal respect? Holistic learning, is the group's focus on rounded learning and not dominated by narrow measures of professional development or student attainment? Relational well-being, does the group create a shared feeling of belonging, empowerment and high self-esteem, together with respect for independent critical thinking? Instead of power sharing, in a dependence culture, power is concentrated, there is strict hierarchy and a directive, top-down practice of leadership. People have little say in decisions or autonomy to take initiatives. In contrast with collaborative leadership, characterised by co-development, stands leadership characterised by a culture of dependence. The 4 dimensions of hierarchical leadership, fostering dependence, are set up here to heighten the contrast with co-development. Not all these dimensions will exist in schools in their extreme form, and not all aspects of them are necessarily negative. However, highlighting the contrast helps us to see more clearly the direction of travel from a situation that fosters dependence to one that is much richer in terms of collaboration and co-development. Instead of power sharing, in a dependence culture, power is concentrated. There is strict hierarchy and a directive, top-down practice of leadership. People have little say in decisions or autonomy to take initiative. Instead of transforming dialogue, ideas and information are transmitted in a linear way. Dialogue is mainly replaced by a communication style dominated by telling people what to do or collecting data on performance. Instead of being holistic, learning is instrumental. What counts as learning by students and professional educators is overwhelmingly defined in terms of success as measured by standardised tests and official data. In place of relational well-being, relationships are predominantly functional. People are valued solely as a means to an end to improve narrow measures of success and the achievement of targets, rather than as members of the community who have a sense of belonging and a shared spirit of endeavour.